CNN entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister is here with more on her exclusive reporting. Elizabeth, tell us what you're learning.
We have learned from two sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify.
Diddy's world is unraveling at an alarming speed, and no amount of money or power seems to be enough to stop the avalanche coming his way. Fresh lawsuits are hitting him left and right, and just when he probably thought things couldn't get any worse, security footage allegedly showing him in a violent altercation with Cassie surfaced, sending shockwaves through the industry. The footage is difficult to watch, the kind of thing that makes you sit back, take a deep breath, and question everything you thought you knew about one of the most powerful men in entertainment. People who once defended him are now silent, and those who suspected something sinister all along are saying, "We told you so." Every time Diddy seems to be stepping out of the fire, another bombshell explodes in his face. And this time, it's not just one or two people accusing him. His past is catching up to him in the worst way possible. More individuals are coming forward with their own chilling stories, and the list of accusations is only getting longer. The evidence? Let's just say it's stacking up fast. And as if things weren't already spiraling out of control, here comes 50 Cent, never one to stay silent when there's a scandal brewing. The rap mogul has been publicly trolling Diddy for weeks, but now he's taking it up a notch with a full-blown documentary. Yes, you heard that right. According to reports, Netflix is backing the project, and if that's true, it could be one of the most explosive exposés of the year. Imagine a multi-part deep dive into the darkest corners of Diddy's empire, with industry insiders spilling all the tea. It's not looking good for him at all. With all this unfolding, Diddy's once untouchable reputation is deteriorating faster than anyone could have predicted. The lawsuits, the allegations, the leaked footage, it's all happening at the same time, and there's only so long he can keep playing defense. The million-dollar question is, can he survive this? Or is this the beginning of the end for one of the biggest moguls in hip-hop? More people are speaking out, and their stories are disturbing. At this point, it feels like a never-ending documentary is playing out in real life. The number of people coming forward with stories about Diddy is growing by the day, and none of them paint him in a flattering light. Take Audrey English, for example. She's not holding back when it comes to what she allegedly experienced at Diddy's infamous parties. She says she attended 3 of them, and each one got progressively worse. At first, I thought it was just a wild Hollywood party, but by the 3rd one, I knew something wasn't right, she shared. And if there's one thing we've learned about these industry parties, it's that they're never just about the music and the drinks. English's story isn't just about a bad night out. It's about the environment Diddy allegedly created. A place where things weren't as glamorous as they appeared from the outside. It felt like I was just there for entertainment, like I wasn't even a person, she said. And when someone makes a statement like that, it raises a lot of questions about what really went on behind those closed doors. Then there's April Ambrose, whose allegations have turned even more heads. She's claiming that she was recorded without her consent, a shocking accusation that raises serious concerns. "I didn't agree to any of it. I didn't even know it was happening," she stated. In an era where privacy is everything, this kind of allegation could be a massive blow to Diddy's already crumbling empire. And let's be real, these are just the people speaking up now. The fear is that for every person coming forward, there are countless others who haven't. The culture of silence in the industry is real. And if this is the beginning of people feeling empowered to tell their stories, who knows how many more allegations will surface in the coming weeks. Diddy has spent decades building an empire, but right now, it feels like that empire is hanging by a thread. With former friends, associates, and industry insiders turning their backs on him, his ability to control the narrative is slipping away. So what happens next? Will more people step forward? Will the lawsuits break him? One thing's for sure. This scandal isn't dying down anytime soon, and the fallout could be bigger than anyone imagined. Diddy's empire is crumbling, and the stories keep coming. What's unfolding isn't just a single scandal, it's an avalanche. April Ambrose made it clear that what happened to her wasn't just some misunderstanding. According to her, it was a deliberate violation of her privacy, and in today's climate, where consent is more important than ever, such accusations carry serious weight. But she's not the only one speaking out. Enter Rodney Jones, a former associate of Diddy, who isn't holding back about what he claims went on behind the scenes. Jones describes his time working with Diddy not as a partnership, but as an experience riddled with control and manipulation. It wasn't just about the music, Jones revealed. It was about power, his power, He wanted to control everything, from the people I worked with to how I handle my career. That paints a very different picture of Diddy than the one the public has seen for decades. He's long been celebrated as a mogul, a visionary who built an empire from the ground up. But Jones is suggesting that empire wasn't built just on talent and business smarts. It was built on keeping people under his thumb. And he's not alone in that sentiment. It wasn't about collaboration, Jones continued. It was about Diddy's way or the highway. And believe me, it got suffocating. It makes you wonder just how many people have felt trapped under Diddy's influence, afraid to push back or speak out. How many careers were shaped or broken because of the control he allegedly wielded over others. Then there's Joy Dickerson, another voice in this growing chorus of people calling out Diddy. But unlike some of the other accusations, hers focus on how he reportedly belittled and disrespected her in professional settings. It was like he didn't respect me as an equal, Dickerson stated. It wasn't about working together. It was about him making me feel small, like I wasn't worth his time. That's a theme we're hearing more and more. The idea that Diddy didn't just want to succeed. He wanted complete dominance, whether in business or in personal relationships. Dickerson's experience echoes what so many others have shared, feeling like a pawn in a game that only he was allowed to win. But unlike some who stayed silent, she refused to back down. I wasn't going to let him walk all over me, she declared. That's not who I am. He doesn't get to make me feel small, and I'm not afraid to speak up about it. Her words are powerful, and they're part of a larger shift happening right now. More people are finding the courage to tell their stories, no matter how powerful the person they're accusing may be. With names like Audria English, April Lamprose, Rodney Jones, and Joy Dickerson stepping forward, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Diddy's reputation is taking a major hit, and this isn't something he can just sweep under the rug. For years, he's managed to dodge controversy, always finding a way to maneuver through the scandals and emerge relatively unscathed. But this time, the allegations are piling up, and the tide is turning fast. At this point, it's no longer just about one or two accusations. It's about a pattern of control, manipulation, and alleged misconduct that multiple people are now willing to discuss publicly. Whether this leads to legal consequences remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure. Diddy is no longer the untouchable mogul he once was. And if you thought things couldn't get any messier for him, buckle up, because the Jane Doe case is about to take this entire saga to a whole new level.
I think the music industry is one of the most corrupt industries on the planet. And I know somebody personally, and I'm not even going to go into details, that did one of the biggest hits of Biggie's career. And he told me when he sent the beat to Puffy, he just stole it from him. So just from the amount, how you doing business, you cannot do business that way and expect for you to continue to be successful, because eventually it will come back. So we always heard about, from that standpoint of view, just doing people dirty, just snaking people for money, and every evil thing you can think of, they just, what I mean? So that's sad, because when you come from our background and we get into the music industry, for example, and they start becoming these CEOs, the first thing they start talking about, man, we're going to do our own record company because we tired of the white man stealing from us. You know what I mean? And then you get these black CEOs, they come do the same exact thing to black artists.
The Jane Doe case. The allegations that shook Diddy's empire. If there was ever a moment when things took a sharp turn for the worse, this is it. The Jane Doe case isn't just another controversy. It's one of the most serious allegations against Diddy yet. A woman, choosing to remain anonymous under the Jane Doe pseudonym, has come forward with disturbing claims that paint a grim picture of what allegedly happened behind closed doors. While the details remain under legal scrutiny, the fact that this case is still ongoing proves that it's far from over. What makes this situation particularly alarming is that it's not a simple case of conflicting narratives. It's about a pattern of alleged manipulation and mistreatment that stretches back years. According to Jane Doe's claims, Diddy didn't just use his wealth and fame to get what he wanted. He allegedly used them to control and intimidate. What's even more damning is that Jane Doe isn't standing alone. As the case unfolds, more people have stepped forward with their own experiences, adding credibility to her claims. The bigger picture is emerging, one that suggests this isn't an isolated incident, but rather part of a deeply concerning pattern that has existed for years. Before diving deeper into Jane Doe's case, let's rewind to what many believe was the catalyst for this storm: Cassie. While Diddy and Cassie's high-profile breakup was already making headlines, it wasn't just a personal split. It was the moment people started questioning what really went on behind the scenes. When Cassie filed for divorce in 2018, after nearly a decade with Diddy, whispers started circulating. Sources close to her have since claimed that the relationship was far from perfect and that Cassie allegedly endured years of emotional strain. She was trapped in a cycle. One insider claimed Diddy controlled every aspect of her life, from her career to her personal decisions. She wasn't allowed to make choices for herself. While Cassie herself has remained relatively private about the full extent of her experiences, there's speculation that her departure was the first domino to fall. Did her breakup give others the courage to speak up? Was it the moment the facade of Diddy's seemingly perfect empire started to crack? It's impossible to say for sure, but the ripple effect is undeniable. Now, as more voices join the conversation, Jane Doe's case is emerging as one of the most significant allegations yet. The lawsuit claims that Diddy didn't just manipulate her. He allegedly went to great lengths to keep her under his control, using his influence to silence her when she tried to leave. While the legal process is still unfolding, one thing is becoming clear. The narrative surrounding Diddy has shifted dramatically. It's one thing for a former associate to come forward with grievances, but when multiple individuals share similar stories, it becomes increasingly difficult to dismiss. What's perhaps most unsettling is the common theme in these allegations. The idea that Diddy used his status to dominate those around him, particularly women. With each new revelation, his once unshakable empire looks more like a house of cards, vulnerable to collapsing under the weight of these mounting accusations. And with Jane Doe's case still making waves, it seems like this story is far from over. Diddy's alleged pattern of control, more than just a scandal. What makes this situation even more unsettling is that it's not just about one or two incidents. It's about a larger, more disturbing pattern. The allegations against Diddy go beyond a failed relationship or a bitter breakup. They suggest a years-long cycle of manipulation, control, and power plays within the entertainment industry. This isn't just about what Cassie revealed or what Jane Doe is accusing him of. It's about a culture where influence and authority can allegedly be weaponized. The accusations claim that Diddy didn't just exert control over personal relationships, but also over careers, reputations, and opportunities, making it difficult for people to walk away without consequences. Allegations suggest that he created an environment where those in his orbit felt trapped, unable to speak out or distance themselves without facing repercussions. This level of control allegedly extended beyond romantic relationships, seeping into professional dynamics where people feared what would happen if they were no longer in Diddy's good graces. As the Jane Doe case unfolds and more voices come forward, it's becoming increasingly clear that Diddy's once unshakable reputation is under serious scrutiny. Whether he will face legal repercussions remains to be seen, but the damage to his public image is already undeniable. This controversy isn't just about one man. It's about the broader conversation regarding power dynamics in the entertainment world. How many other powerful figures have used their status to manipulate, silence, or intimidate those around them? And how many of these stories have been buried over the years due to fear, influence, or legal pressure? Cassie's allegations seem to have been the turning point. One breakup, one moment of defiance, and suddenly, a wave of voices followed, pulling back the curtain on the man who once appeared untouchable. And with new details emerging, this story is only getting more complicated. The deeper this goes, the harder it will be for Diddy to reclaim the image he once held. Behind the glitz, the truth about Diddy's infamous white parties? For years, Diddy's legendary white parties were seen as the pinnacle of Hollywood luxury. These invite-only affairs brought together the biggest names in music, fashion, and film, all dressed in dazzling white, sipping champagne under the stars. On the surface, it all seemed like a glamorous dream straight out of a music video. But behind the closed doors of these extravagant gatherings, whispers have long suggested that there was more to these events than met the eye. While the official image was all about opulence and star-studded fun, some sources claim that these parties also served as a setting for more questionable behavior. Reports suggest that these weren't just social events. They were also about power, control, and exclusivity. Guests were allegedly handpicked not just for their celebrity status, but for their willingness to abide by certain unspoken rules, ensuring that the night unfolded exactly as Diddy wanted. According to industry insiders, Diddy allegedly used these events not just to celebrate, but to establish dominance, making sure his presence was felt, his power was known, and his influence remained intact. There have been claims that guests, even high-profile celebrities, sometimes felt uneasy, as if they were being monitored or pressured in ways they didn't fully understand. If those at the top of the industry felt this way, one can only imagine how it might have been for less established figures hoping to break into the business. There are also rumors that these parties were more than just entertainment. They were strategic. Some speculate that Diddy leveraged these gatherings to pull strings, forge alliances, and consolidate his influence over the industry. He allegedly used these events to cultivate relationships with key figures, ensuring that he remained at the center of the entertainment world's power structure. The exclusivity of these parties also raised questions. The guest list was meticulously curated, with only those deemed worthy or useful allowed inside. Some sources suggest that there was an underlying agenda at play, one that extended beyond networking and socializing. It's been rumored that these events were a way for Diddy to test loyalty, gauge who could be trusted, and possibly exert influence over people's careers. And as the legal troubles surrounding Diddy continue to mount, some are starting to wonder, could these infamous gatherings have played a bigger role in the allegations now surfacing? Were these parties just elaborate spectacles, or were they part of something far more calculated? The dark side of Diddy's white parties, unveiling the truth. As more and more stories surface about Diddy's infamous white parties, the glamour surrounding these events starts to fade. What once seemed like exclusive, star-studded celebrations filled with fun and excitement is now being viewed through a much darker lens. The stories surrounding these parties no longer carry the same allure. They're starting to paint a picture of manipulation and control. Guests, once dazzled by the luxury and high-profile attendees, are now speaking out about their experiences, shedding light on the uncomfortable, even disturbing aspects of these gatherings. While it's not entirely clear what happened behind closed doors, it's becoming evident that these events were not just about luxury and fame. They were potentially spaces for power plays, where Diddy could exert control over those in attendance, using his influence to manipulate and intimidate. What used to be seen as a quintessential symbol of success and wealth is now being questioned as a backdrop for power dynamics, coercion, and possibly even threats. Many of the women and men involved have started to reflect on the strange or uncomfortable situations they were subjected to. What once felt like a VIP experience is now viewed with a sense of unease. As these new accounts surface, it's clear that these events were not simply about partying. They were about establishing dominance, maintaining a controlled image, and keeping people in line. The more these stories come to light, the more it becomes clear that Diddy's white parties may have been more about control than about fun and celebration. For someone like Diddy, who has been known for cultivating an image of untouchable success and fame, the revelation of these power plays adds a new layer to his already controversial legacy. The once glamorous parties, where elite names in music and fashion would mingle, are now part of the larger conversation on the darker side of fame and power. In light of the ongoing allegations of abuse, it's hard to overlook the possibility that Diddy's image was a carefully constructed facade, one that concealed manipulation and control at its core. The shocking turn in Diddy's legal troubles took a dramatic twist when his $40 million mansion was raided by authorities. This wasn't your typical visit. It was a full-on, high-stakes operation. The police weren't there to admire the lavish decor or to take in the luxury of the estate. They were looking for evidence to support the growing number of allegations against him. The seriousness of the situation was clear. The investigation wasn't just about rumors and whispers anymore. It had evolved into a full-scale legal matter, with victims coming forward and offering credible testimony. For someone like Diddy, whose empire was built on control and public perception, the house raid was a stunning blow. He was a man accustomed to being at the top, building an empire, throwing the most talked-about parties, and remaining a fixture in the industry for decades. But now, his once impenetrable image was crumbling. The house raid marked a turning point, where the law made it clear that Diddy's actions, no matter how long ago, had finally caught up with him. This wasn't just a case of old rumors resurfacing. The authorities were actively looking for hard evidence, including proof of illegal activities or any threats he might have made. The gravity of the situation wasn't lost on anyone. Diddy wasn't just a businessman. He was a cultural icon, a figure whose influence stretched across music, fashion, and pop culture. Now, all of that was being scrutinized under the harsh light of the law. This investigation wasn't just about accusations anymore. It was about uncovering a larger truth, one that Diddy had managed to keep hidden for years. The fall of an empire, Diddy's reckoning. As Diddy's team scrambled to handle the fallout, both fans and critics couldn't help but wonder, is this the end of an era for him? To be fair, Diddy is known for his untouchable reputation. He's had run-ins with the law before, but they never seem to stick. Could this time be different? With how thorough this investigation appears, it might just be. A legal expert was quoted as saying, "This is not a situation where you can just sweep things under the rug." With everything that has come to light, the pressure on Diddy is mounting. But let's not forget about the sheer drama of it all. This isn't just another celebrity scandal involving a bad tweet or a poor judgment moment. This is Diddy we're talking about. The man who built Bad Boy Records, the mogul who had the entire world dancing to his beats, the one who threw legendary white parties. To see him go from the life of the party to being arrested and raided is like watching a show unravel in real time. One minute he's on top of the world, and the next he's in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The timing couldn't be worse. Just when Diddy thought he might have dodged the biggest bullet of his life, a house raid happens, and it's like the universe just can't stop putting him under the microscope. For decades, he crafted a persona of power, control, and luxury. But with each passing headline, it's all beginning to crumble. Enter 50 Cent, whose boldness and no-holds-barred style have already shaken up the entertainment industry. When he hinted that he was working on a project to expose Diddy, the gasps from the industry could practically be heard. In his usual brash style, 50 Cent announced, "I'm working on something for Netflix that's going to expose him. It's a big one. I've got all the details." But here's the kicker. Diddy's options are getting slimmer by the minute. With more people stepping forward to share their stories and allegations, it's becoming increasingly harder for him to dodge the truth, especially when figures like 50 Cent are involved. According to sources close to the situation, 50 Cent isn't backing down. In fact, he's actively recruiting individuals with their own grievances against Diddy, creating a whole new wave of voices that the mogul will have to face. "I've already got people in place who want to talk. This is going to be a big deal. Diddy's not going to know what hit him," 50 Cent bragged in a recent interview. It's a snowball effect. One person speaks out, and then others follow suit. With 50 Cent leading the charge, it's bound to gain significant traction. And Netflix? They're just sitting back, waiting for the moment to pounce. This documentary or series, whatever it turns out to be, could change everything. If there was ever a time for Diddy to come face to face with his past, this is it. The real kicker is that Diddy, despite being a mogul and all-around big shot, might not be able to just brush it off. If 50 Cent drops the bombshells that people are expecting, this might be more than Diddy can handle. The final countdown. Will Diddy's empire survive? As the weeks go by, it seems like the walls are closing in on Diddy. He can't keep dodging the accusations. And now, with 50 Cent in the mix, there's no telling how much more will come to light. The real question is, can he handle the heat? Or will this be the moment his empire begins to crumble? Either way, we're all here, popcorn in hand, waiting for the next big reveal. The fact that it's all happening so publicly just makes it that much juicier. The Diddy saga is now the hottest show on TV, and we're all tuned in, hoping for the next big twist. 50 Cent has clearly set his sights on Diddy, and if the rumors are true, this is going to be a much bigger deal than anyone could have predicted. With people lining up to spill the tea and 50 Cent ready to throw the first punch, Diddy has no choice but to face the music. Whether he likes it or not, the question remains, will Diddy be behind bars anytime soon? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This story is far from over.